We have an incredible show for you today. Joel Thatcher from Tunedge. Peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. Today, we take you behind the scenes of what normally happens at the EntreMusician, where wonderful men and women who are hardcore professionals in this music industry comes and answers some of our questions in our mastermind community and helps us to understand better what's going on underneath the hood. Well, this week we're looking into sync, and if you are a composer or producer who writes specifically for sync, you know the importance of attending as many seminars, webinars, and Q&As as possible to keep yourself abreast of what's happening, what's trending, to remind yourself of some of the standards that are needed when you write for sync. And Tunedge is one of the libraries that I personally write for. Recently, they Recently, they updated or changed around. That was what I was trying to say. Their portal and the way that you upload music, and they've expanded to a pro version, which allows you collaborative access to other members of their composer community. And I had some questions with regard to some of the nuances that were changed in the way that I was originally uploading music. I had an opportunity to dialogue with Joel Thatcher, and the one thing that was really evident to me was not only his expertise and what the direction that Tunedge was going, or what direction they were going into, but really his passion for sync, his passion for the artists and composers who work within their company, and how optimistic he was about the vision that they had set for themselves as a community. And so, never one to miss an opportunity, I just decided, hey, why don't you come, Joel, and talk to the members of the EntreMusician community? And, I'm sure that your presence there would help alleviate some of the questions, some of the doubts even that some of the community members have. And so not only did he agree to come, but he said he would try to bring some other members of the Tunedge administration with him. And we're delighted to present what happened to us as an EntreMusician community, and what happened in the exchange. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right into it. Call your friends, let them know that Joel is bringing the bacon to this conversation. So let's roll with it. God bless. I'm blessed to be able to present Joel Thatcher from Tunedge.com. And if you need to know anything about sync licensing, he's the expert right there. He's the expert that you need to go to. So Joel, I'm going to say hello to you, and then we'll just have everyone introduce themselves to you. But what's going on? We're going to call ourselves February Brothers. We're just turning 60
for sure.
In hours of each other, man.
For sure.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. And as you mentioned, I'm with Tunedge, been with Tunedge over 20 years, and originally started in radio, and then met Brandon, who's the CEO of Tunedge, and he got his first sync placement when he was 16. He comes from a musical family, so he's been at this for a while, and now I'm partner, chief operating officer for Tunedge. Been running everything there for a while, and looking forward to answering you guys' questions and telling you everything there is to know about sync licensing, because I have discovered over the last several years, when we started working with musicians through the artist portal, that a lot of artists know very little or nothing about sync licensing.
Yeah.
Very little.
Joel, let's just start with the real low-hanging fruit. And I know you get asked this question a lot, but let's just take it to the kindergarten class and work our way up. What exactly is sync licensing? It's something that we all hear about. What is it?
Synchronization licensing is when they synchronize a video with a piece of audio, then you get a license to do that. Now there's two types of license that exist, or it's really not two types of license. There's two ways of being paid from a piece of music that gets synced into some video, whether it's commercial or whether it's in TV show or anything like that. You've got the sync license fee. So for example, if let's say a TV show like the Kardashians come to us and say, hey, we want to use a piece of music and we'll pay, you guys $1,000 if we can license this piece of music. That's the sync licensing fee. Then you also have the royalty fee that comes through ASCAP and BMI, so that when that song gets played in the show, the cue sheets get reported to ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, and then you'll collect back-end royalties. The sync licensing fee is that one-time fee, but the royalty check, if that show keeps playing, every time it plays, you're going to collect a royalty check off of that. So those are the two different types of things. For Tunedge, we have two opportunities. We have everybody. We're trying to get a sync licensing fee because everybody makes more money if we're able to get a sync license. But we also have what we call opt-in blankets. And what that is we have licensing deals with certain companies. There are certain companies who don't like to pay sync fees for whatever reason. And they just say, we don't do it. We only pay back-end royalties. We report, pay the money to ASCAP and BMI, and you collect royalties. That's like CBS Sports, BBC, E Entertainment. All of those guys, they don't like to pay a sync fee. But if you can get music placed in a video and it's playing over and over again, it's a good enough opportunity to make money as opposed to make nothing. So we've found like for Tunedge, when we get music placed in entertainment shows and stuff, we'll make $10,000 a year, easy. So it's worth it to be able to get a couple of songs placed in a show or something like that, because the residuals just keep coming as they replay the shows. But our ultimate goal is to get a sync fee. The sync fees can vary as low as, $50, $100 for a small commercial, local commercial or something like, and then it can go up to, I've seen them as high as in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Typically, when you're in the hundreds of thousands, they're looking for a cover song. And the reason the price is so high is if you're licensing a cover song, you're paying for the master. If you're going with somebody who has a cover song instead of the original song. So for example, like if somebody goes, oh, we want to license the Bee Gees song, and they go and maybe they say it's going to be $1 million to license the master, and they'll go, oh, no, we don't have that. So they'll go look for a cover that they can license for way less, but the price is still going to be high. And then they also still have to license basically the copyright of the song. So they're paying the master fee as well as the publishing fee to synchronize that. So those prices can get really high. They're not as often, but they do happen.
Understood. Well, let's talk about the publishing aspect of it, because what most songwriters don't understand, that when they sign that license deal with the library, that they are giving up their publishing. Can you discuss that?
Yeah, sure. So what we do with Tunedge is we'll split everything 50-50. So basically, if we collect a sync fee, and it's $1,000, we'll take 500, you get 500. And then the royalties, we split 50-50 as well. So you guys, whoever the artist is, collects 100% of the writer's share, and then we'll retitle the song. So we, for example, will add the word edge to the end of whatever the song is titled. So if the song's titled The Entre, it's the Entre Edge then we'll register that song with the edge. To the PROs, it's as if it's a completely different song. And then when that song gets played on air, and we make sure that when they put in the cue sheets, they include the Edge version, then we'll collect the publishing. But because we retitled and registered it, you'll collect, whoever the artist is collects 100% of the writer's share. So that's 50-50 again. So that's why we do that.
I think that's really interesting because there are some libraries which they will register the publishing under their publishing company. But they also, I think there's something that's different about Tunedge in the sense that you do not restrict the writer from, releasing their song commercially on Spotify or uploading it to Apple Music or whatever, where there are some libraries which say, well, we want it and we want it totally. You cannot upload
exclusive.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're talking about exclusivity. So we give artists the option. So when you submit a song to us and it's approved, then you have the option to make it opt-in if you want, which is what I explained earlier, or make it exclusive. We don't do exclusivity by artist. We do it by song. So you could have 3 songs you want to make exclusive and a whole bunch that you make non-exclusive. And our exclusivity is exclusive from trying to get another sync library representing that song. It doesn't mean it's exclusive. You can't load it up to Spotify or Apple or, anything like that. It's just from other libraries submitting that. And the reason we do that, and we prefer that, but it's not necessary, is because if we have, say, a music supervisor who comes to us and says, hey, send me some hip hop tunes for All American, and then we send them over, there could, that same music supervisor could have asked 5 different publishing companies to send over music. And if they represent the same artists, then they might get that same song 3 times. And so, we don't know which one they're going to pick. Do they pick ours? Where if it's exclusive, we know, if they pick it, this is the only place they could get it from. So we prefer it, but we don't require it.
I see. Excellent. And Dennis, I see your hand. I'm going to ask one more question and then we'll open it up, open up the floor a little bit. But is there a such thing as a placement rate? Like with respect to Tunedge, I don't know how you market, but is there something that says, we have a 90% placement rate? Like most music supervisors love us because or is it just a lottery out there amongst the 12 or 13 different major libraries that are there? You know what I mean?
To be totally honest with you, it's basically, it's more like a lottery.
Gotcha.
I mean, I would love to be able to say, oh no, we get a 90% sync placement. No. And anybody who says that, I would say that they're lying to you.
Gotcha.
Because here's how you have to think of it. And the music supervisors are the one, they call it the sync lottery is what they call it. And here's what you have to think. There's all the music that exists right now that could be submitted to any of these shows. And tomorrow, there's another 100,000 songs that exist in the world. And tomorrow, the day after that, there's another 100. So it's exponentially growing. So what is key and is important, and that Tunedge really tries to do, is we try to build a relationship with the music supervisor to make it to where they go, you know what, every time I ask for a piece of music, Tunedge only sends me what I ask for. Because there's nothing that bugs a music supervisor than you ask them for a piece of country music and they sent you some pop. They don't like that kind of stuff. They want only what they've asked for. Because you can imagine if we send over, let's say 50 songs, and 5 other publishers send over 50 songs. Now they have 250 songs. Did I do the math right? To listen through, to pick one or 2 that they're going to use for a show. And so they don't have a lot of time to waste. And they basically rely on somebody like Tunedge to kind of weed out the stuff that's like really not what they're looking for and send over just what they're looking for. The other thing that music supervisors are a very peculiar group in the sense that they hate it and will like ask that you not contact them anymore if you bug them about like, hey, did my song get placed? Did you listen to what's the status? They don't like that. They'll get angry and they'll be like, I'll tell you if I use something and you'll know it. So we tread really gently because they're a very peculiar group. Not that they're bad or anything. They're just overwhelmed, and you know, they're in a position of power in a sense because they're the ones who pick the music. Gotcha. So we try to give them exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they asked for. We actually have this one music supervisor. She'll send out like a 2 or 3 page brief to us, and she'll say, make sure you read this whole thing. If you don't read the whole thing, you're going to send me something that I don't want. And you just go on and on and on and on and on. And like this person in particular, like if you send her songs, and there's other music supervisors that are this way. If you send songs that have lyrics, you always have to include an instrumental. They won't even look at a song if it doesn't come with an instrumental. So there are certain individuals we know, okay, we got to be this way with this one and this way with this one. But that's what we try to do is build our relationship with these music supervisors. We're fortunate enough to have Steve Chelly, who used to work at Fox. And before that, he worked at E! Entertainment over there in the music department for like 30, 40 years. And now he's on the other side working with us. And so a lot of these music supervisors, he knows them personally from previous experience. So he has a good relationship. So he's able to get in places where some people just, they won't even take a call or anything like that. So did I answer the question? I forgot what the question was.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. There's one more question, Dennis. I haven't forgotten about you, but you keep pushing buttons. So who then in the Tunedge staff, make sure that you are satisfying exactly what the music supervisor has requested? So of course there has to be somebody who's listening to a heck of a lot of music in order to whittle it down to give the music supervisor what they want. What's that process?
So typically it depends. It could be as many as 3 of us that might come together on a specific project and say, okay, let's review. These are the songs that I picked. Let me know, like if, for example, if Steve, who deals with a lot of music supervisors, he might put together a list and say, hey guys, here's the playlist I put together for them. Take a quick listen and tell me if you don't like anything. And both Brandon or myself will listen through. And if we hear something that doesn't work, or we think, oh, that one's kind of on the border, maybe you should leave that one out, then we'll give our input, and there's a lot of discussion because sometimes you're trying to understand what the music supervisor wants, depending on the brief that they give us. A lot of times they can be very vague. Especially you get this like from an ad agency, and it's extremely annoying. They'll say, I want something upbeat and enlightening. And it's like, okay, jazz, rock, pop, gospel. Can you be more specific? And they'll go, well, I'll know it when I hear it. And you're like, oh, geez. Oh, okay. So what we try to do is we'll send them a nice, like a rounded first initial thing, and then follow up with them and say, did we hit the mark? And then a lot of times it'll help because they'll go, oh, we really like this one, something more along this line. And then we can narrow it down and then send them a second group or a third group of what they're looking for. A lot of times the clients can be very difficult to work with. In the radio stations that we work with, the guys who make commercials for radios, a lot of times they'll actually give the client access to our interface and say, you search and find what you want, because there are certain customers who can be really picky as far as like what they're looking for.
I see.
So
wow.
Anyway.
Well, I have 15 more questions, but Dennis, let's go. Let's go to you, and we'll open up the floor a little bit because you said a lot, and that really pricks other questions to come to
Yeah,
the surface.
it's like opening a can of worms. It's
Joe, maybe I missed it, but I know you went over 4 different fees. You went over a sync license fee, royalty fee, back end royalties, which was sports primarily, and then you said an opt-in blanket, but I don't remember you explaining what the opt-in blanket is.
Sure. The opt-in blanket fee that we have, that means, for example, like CBS Sports, they don't pay the sync fee. They only report the usage to ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and then you'd collect the royalties on the back end. So the opt-in license that we have, so if you say, oh, I'm going to go opt-in, that means we could send your music to BBC. We could send your music to E! Entertainment. We could send your music to CBS Sports, and hopefully they use it in one of the shows, because then everybody makes royalties off the back end for that. But there is no sync fee, so to speak.
Okay, so it's directed, that particular option is directed primarily at the sports world.
No, because BBC, it's for everything they produce. So,
Okay.
yeah, and because I think BBC, because it's in England, and because of the way they do royalties and everything like that, it's a lot different. Because BBC is a government-owned broadcaster, it kind of similar, but on a more extreme level to, like, say, PBS or something like that. So they have to pay the royalties, and when they do pay royalties, because it's through the government, they do pay a lot more on the royalties than like here in the US with ASCAP and BMI.
Okay, so it's basically the ones who don't formally do the sync license fee. This is like an
Correct.
alternative to the sync license fee.
Correct. But we
Okay.
are always trying to get the sync fee with somebody we can, because everybody makes more money. You make more money, we make more money. But there's no point in basically putting a piece of music on your shelf on a disc, sitting on a disc and just sitting there collecting dust. You should at least put it out there, and hopefully somebody picks it up and plays it, because you never know. We have one composer we work with who had a piece of music that was used every time. It was a reality TV show, and every time they went to the mall, they liked to use his piece of music. So for years, they would play it every time they'd go to the mall. And he, in several years of just the back end royalties, he made several $1 million. So it's possible to make a lot of money if you can get placed.
Now, that particular piece for that specific application, was there something about that music that made it kind of quirky and different? It stood out, or was it just well produced? If you heard
I think it just worked for whatever it was that they were looking for. A lot of times when a music supervisor is looking for something for a specific show, the piece of music that they might be looking for, it always depends on the scene that they're looking for. So you can imagine this. Imagine being out in the country and you go into a little tavern and there's a guy playing guitar on a little stage in the tavern. It's not going to be well produced. It's going to sound a little rough because it's not a studio piece of music. So then they're looking for something that's not as well produced and things like that. Then there might be other times where somebody's walking into a strip club or something like that in the city, and they're going to want a piece of music that sounds like it's something off the radio that's a little risque or something like that. So every scene might have a completely different feel or production quality. Like when we first started this, because, Tunedge has been in the business since '96. We've had our own license library that we have. And it was around 2019, we started taking music from artists because we were able to build the portal and represent them, because technology had advanced enough that we could do this. So when we started doing it, at first we were very, very, very picky on what we'd accept, only really well produced stuff and things like that. And then music supervisors were sending us songs that they were looking for, and we were like, wow, this song is not very good. It's not that well produced. It's kind of a B-rate song or whatever. And so we had to open up what we were looking for. I mean, we had one about a year ago. They were looking for pub music that was from the 1700s in an Irish pub, and they wanted like a mandolin and a flute and to sound real, and a fiddle that sounds really rough, that's not well produced, because it's got to sound like it's from the 1700s, somebody playing it in a pub. So it makes the extreme of what they're looking for very huge. Like, I've had a lot of people ask, like, well, what's the kind of music that they're always looking for? There really isn't. They're looking for everything based on the show, the feel to that scene that they might be trying to get across. You know, for example, like Grey's Anatomy always is looking for melodramatic, indie kind of stuff. Then if you go all American, it's hip hop, R&B. If you're looking for Nancy Drew, it's like indie rock, indie pop. If you're, it's all over the board.
We have Linda and we have Brian. So let's go with Linda. Her hand has been up a long time. I think her arm is getting tired.
She had the 30-second question.
That's right. I just want to know, I want you to explain the criteria for submitting songs, and the 30 and 60 second
versions
requirement.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you can submit any genre, anything, doesn't matter, and because we get requests of all different kinds, so we'll take anything. We always recommend that if your song has lyrics, you always include an instrumental version. Now, a lot of artists don't know that a reduced version, what reduced means is it doesn't mean it's shorter in length. It means it's minus one of the main instruments. So if you have a song, the main instrument is the vocals. So it would be the instrumental. If you had an instrumental song, this is how you want to think about the reduced version. When songs are getting placed and used, they're typically for commercial or background music where, actors might be talking in the scene or whatever. So you want a piece of music that's not going to interfere with the talking. So if you had a piece of music where it had a screaming guitar that's going, that's going to interfere. So that's the instrument you're going to want to pull out. Now, if it was just a piano solo, there is no reduced because it's just the piano. So you have to think about that. Now, for the 60 and the 30, those are to help ad agencies to be able to find a commercial piece. And when you go to make a 60 or a 30, you want it as close to 60 and 30 as possible, within maybe 1 or 2 seconds either side. You want it as close as possible. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be like the first 60 seconds of the song or the last 60. It could be from any part of the song where you feel like this is the coolest part. This hook right here, this is the cool part of the song. I'm going to cut this part out. It doesn't have to be at the beginning or the end or anything like that. And then the 60s and the 30s, you'd have as well a full and a reduced. A lot of the times, I would say the majority of the times, when they're using something for a show or a promo or something like that, they will typically go to the reduced version. Not that the others aren't good, but the reduced version, when the guy's going, tonight on Fox, you'll see this and that and this and that, you don't want that music to interfere at all with him announcing. And so they'll typically go to the reduced version. Did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Absolutely excellent. Brian, your question, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, a small guy like me, I'm recording in my home studio. How likely is it for me to actually get a placement? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm working in an FL studio. Can I use original recordings? My guitar, vocals, do I have to go through libraries, that kind of thing?
As far as like for you, if you were representing yourself, is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're representing yourself, you're going to have a very difficult time without going through libraries, because you're going to have to find all the music supervisors who you could submit your songs to. And typically the music supervisors don't want to deal with composers, because imagine if you were a music supervisor and you had 10,000 composers sending you a piece of music saying, this is going to be great for your show. They're not even going to talk. They're going to go, no, we only talk to Tunedge or whatever, Song Trader or whoever, because basically we narrow down the list of what they might get and send it over. So for example, I'll use a good example. We have CBS Sports is asked for some of this stuff for the March Madness. Those of you who are on the artist portal have seen that opportunity for March Madness. Well, they said, send us your 15 best songs. Well, I know several of the categories already. We have over 150 songs that have been submitted. So now it's our responsibility to go through. We know exactly what they're looking for, and then to narrow that down to the best 15 to send over to them. So to represent yourself, that would be, I'm not saying it's impossible. The only times I've ever really seen it happen with people is if you personally knew the guy who was the music supervisor for a specific show and you made a deal with him to take your music for the show.
Joel, how does the world of sync, how is it feeling about using AI as a component of its music?
We will not take anything AI for several reasons. One, if it's the song is made by AI, we won't take it, because a lot of the major PROs will not allow you to register a song that's AI. Mm-hmm. The other thing is even though it hasn't been said officially, we know that the big TV networks are not going to take a piece of AI music, because the potential for a lawsuit is far too great, far too great. Now, if it's the AI where there are certain AIs out there, for example, where a female singer or male singer has gone and done a deal with a website where they sing for that website, and then they can take their vocals and put in whatever lyrics they want, and the AI makes it with that person's voice. They're getting money from it, and you get a license for licensing that person's vocals. That is okay, but you have to provide us with the evidence that you licensed the music. But to just for a song, no. We will not take anything. And if we think it's AI, we'll ask, is this AI? And if it is, it gets taken out of the site. So there's a lot of problems with AI. And the biggest one is that they basically scraped the whole internet to teach the AI to write songs. And when they did that, they stole a lot of people's intellectual property. And as an intellectual property company, we got a big problem with that. We don't like that at all. And I'm sure the composers don't like that. So
Understood. Good, Margot. Good on that. Danny, you were next. I'm sorry.
Yes. Backing up to something you said earlier about adding with the copyright, would you add edge to the title?
When we publish it, we don't take any of the copyright. You retain the copyright for the song. We only register the new name of the song. So like when you submit something to Tunedge, you retain the copyright and everything like that. We just add the word edge to the title and then re-register it with the word edge at the end. You're still the the composer, but we'd be the publisher for the Edge version of that song.
So if it had already been released, or even if it was to be released afterwards, as long as we keep the original name and we're releasing it in a different place, then we still retain all of the ownership. You would only get the title with Edge on it, and when it's used, that's what you get paid for.
Correct. If we get it placed in a show, and then that show puts it on the cue sheet and reports it to ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, then those royalties with the Edge then come to us and would still go to you. But your original title, we have no claim to that at all. That's yours. If you had that up on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, you would get that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Robbie.
Yeah, Joe, do you guys accept cues?
Cues? What do you mean?
Like for not specifically commercials, but for like different scenes in TV shows or movies, just like short instrumentals.
Like 15 seconds. You mean like that? Like
well, no,
bumpers or things like that, or?
Well, when you say bumper, what do you mean?
Well, a bumper is typically would be going in or out of a program. They might have a little piece of music that's, dun, 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 dun. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's
where the scene changes. Yeah. Now, like typically those types of piece of music. So, for example, like most TV shows have their own composer, and that composer makes that kind of music for those shows. And then it's when they're looking for a song for a specific scene or something like that, then that's when they would come to us and say, okay, we need a pop song or something like that. Now, it doesn't mean that songs like that, like we had a piece of reality TV music years ago that was used by Progressive in a commercial, and they literally paid for, they used 3 seconds of the song. And it was just basically like dun 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 type of thing, and that's what they paid, $5,000 for that 3 seconds.
Yeah. So when people are submitting, you're looking for more so complete songs in along with lyrics and instrumentals.
No, they can be complete. They can be instrumental. That sounds like what you're talking about. So you can have songs with lyrics, or you can have instrumentals. It used to be, when I first got into the business, all of the promo departments and things like that for the TV networks, they were looking for instrumental cues all the time. And over the years, it slowly started to change to where they wanted more and more stuff where that had lyrics. And so they've been leaning far more heavy on the lyrical side of stuff over the last 5 years, 6 years. So it's gone more, but it doesn't mean that's the only thing they use. I mean, for example, of the stuff that we've just posted about March Madness and stuff, one of those are vocal mixes they're looking for, but all the rest they're looking for instrumental rock, for highlight reels, hip hop, funk, that kind of stuff for the highlights and for their bumpers going in and out of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to come back around to Dennis in a second, but can you discuss the badged situation? You'll see where, if you've put something in, you've submitted it, okay, it's been badged. What does that mean to the composer? And how likely is that going to be sent to the music supervisor who asked for it?
So when it's badged, what that means is everything, as far as from the composer submitting and filling out all the metadata, description and everything, we review that description. Then we send it off to be retitled and registered with the new title. And there's your initial badge where everything's done and we've sent it over to the PRO for the new work ID for the new titled song. Once we get the work ID back, then you get the actual green badge that's on there, which that tells us and the composer, oh, this should be in your repertoire. If you go into your PRO and look, it should be in there. If it's not, let us know. We'll figure out why it's not showing up. And then it also lets us know that when we send this off, because we want to make sure anything we send off is going to get credited for both us and the composer, so that even if we collect a sing fee, we want to make sure, hey, everybody's making back end royalty stuff as well. And so that's what that helps us know. It also, when your songs are badged, it also means that your songs go into the catalog where those who license music from us on a needle drop basis, I'll explain that here in a second. That means they have access to all of that music as well. So now we have two types of, well, there's several types of license that we do here at Tunedge. One, the two main one is a blanket license where you pay a set fee for the year and you can use as much music as you want. If that is with a company that is reporting cue sheets and reporting everything and you opted in, then we would send that piece of music over along with our music that we have. If they do not report, because there's some small companies, small post-production facilities or whatever who are making local commercials that would never report, even though we wish they would, then we don't send your music over, because we don't want your music to get used unless everybody's going to make money from it. And then the other license is a drop license, which comes from the term needle drop, from when you had an album and you dropped the needle onto the album. Every time you drop the needle to play the song, you get charged. So if you play it, you get charged. If you pick it up and put it to loop it, you get charged. So it's like anytime. So that it was originally a needle drop, then it was digital drop. So it's either drop or digital drop is typically laser drop. It was when it was on DVDs for a while. So, and then the price for a drop license varies. And you got to think of it this way. The bigger the audience, the more you're going to pay. Right. So if it's a small little rinky-dink town in the middle of nowhere and they're making a small commercial, we'll collect anywhere. Typically the price is around $100 is what we can get from somebody like that. If it's a national spot, now you're looking at like $800 that we're getting for a national spot. And then it depends. Is it for commercial? Is it for theatrical? Is it for corporate video? Is it for like a common carrier, something on the airlines or something like that? So each of those demand a different price. Also, if you go commercial, then is the commercial going to run in perpetuity forever? Or is the commercial running, 12, 13 weeks? Or is it running 52 weeks? And so the price depends. If you go in perpetuity, the price is higher than if you're just going 13 weeks. So.
Right. Well, I thought it would be fun, Joel. You'll tell me what you think, but I thought it would be fun to kind of share my screen. I'm logged into my Tunedge account, and you can give those who are on this call who have never been on Tunedge,
sure,
kind of like a tour so that they can see what's happening. Would that be cool with you?
That's not a problem at all.
Okay. So I started with the opportunity page, and this was the profile up top to the right here that you were just recently telling Dennis about. If there's anywhere you would want me to.
Sure. No, we could start right here. So this is actually one of the main places that most people come, is the opportunities page. And we post opportunities as they come into us. Sometimes they come in fast and furious, and sometimes it's a little bit of a trickle. Especially, you probably don't know this, but especially during from Thanksgiving to about January 15th it basically dies down to a trickle, because a lot of production companies just literally like close the doors during the holidays. They don't do any kind of production or anything. So there's nothing going on during that time typically. But starting January 15th, it'll just pick up through the year, and throughout the year, there's all kinds of stuff going on, from TV shows to, you can see the sports stuff with March Madness and all of that. The meditation stuff that we have, that's an ongoing thing where there's a major bicycle sports company that also has meditation stuff, and they request a lot of meditation music from us, and we've had composers make some good money from that meditation music, believe it or not. And we post the opportunities as they come in. Probably the coolest thing of the portal is in the top left menu is the collaboration section. And the collaboration section it allows you to create a studio space where you can invite other people to collaborate with, and you have your own little seat where you can upload and put audio in. And there we actually last week uploaded a instructional video on how to use the collaboration section up on our Artist Portal Studio YouTube channel. So if you go to the Artist Portal Studio YouTube channel, you can check that out. Now, for non-premium members, you get one collaboration for free. For premium members, they can make as many as you want. And the cool thing about the collaboration is it would be like having a Dropbox where you can put the audio files that you're working with somebody, as well as you can also message on each track individually or the session as a whole. You can put notes on each track individually or the session as a whole. It allows you to do that. It has a place to keep documents. So if you have work for hire documents or things like that, you can put that stuff in there. Let me just break to the side one quick second, because this is important for all artists to know this. If you're working with somebody else and they're a work for hire, make sure you get the paperwork that they're a work for hire and you get it signed. Because if you're submitting to Tunedge and let's say you're a male composer and we hear a female voice singing on that song, we're going to ask you for the work for hire. And if you don't have it, we can't take it, because it sets you up for a lawsuit and us up for a lawsuit. We're not going to do that. And composers, and this is nothing against composers, but they're notorious for sometimes forgetting important things like that, because it's like you're in the groove, you were writing a cool song, and it's like, it doesn't matter if you're writing a cool song, you got to make sure you have it on paper, because you don't need that to come back and bite you in the butt later. Can you
talk about the little symbols that you have here?
Oh, sure. So the EX is exclusive, which means you're making it exclusive to Tunedge. That's what I mentioned earlier in our meeting here, where it means it's exclusive from giving it to any other synchronization licensing company. The OI means opt-in, which means that's the symbol that tells you that this means it can be used in blanket license, where you're only going to collect back-end royalties if it gets placed. The little one in the stop sign shape, that means one stop. And what one stop is that symbol is really for the music supervisors who are getting playlists from us. What that does is it tells the music supervisor that there is one person or one company that they need to talk to license that song. So they don't have to go and chase down a bunch of different composers or publishing companies to license a song. They only have to talk to one individual or company. And then the badge means that your song's completely processed and everything's done.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
The Artist Network, besides collaboration, the Artist Network, this is a great place. We actually have over 4,000 composers in here, but the ones that aren't showing up, these 1,200, these are all the ones who've made their profiles public. So you can make your profile public or private. Those who are public, they're all in here, and you can see, you can go and find. And if you scan through this, there are people from all over the world, from Serbia, like we have, forget your name, excuse me, I didn't remember everybody's name, Dennis. We have people from Serbia, we have people from Nigeria, from Russia, from Ukraine, from Japan, from Australia, from all over the United States and Canada, South America, Chile, all over the place. So you can find artists from all around the world. And we did this. One of the reasons we did this is for those of you who were part of the original site before we released this one, Tunedge has had artists since '96 who wanted to submit music to us. But back then, there was no internet. And in order for us to take a piece of music, you literally had to put it on a CD, send it off to be pressed, to artwork to be done. And then we literally physically mailed those out to all of the customers. Then when the internet came along, and as time developed to where the technology was there, we could easily get music in and then get it quickly back out to the clients. And so that's why we created the artist portal. We've had this plan going for over 20 years, close to 20 years actually. But the technology wasn't there. And then when the technology was finally there, we're like, okay, let's go ahead and start representing other artists and give them a chance to get into the sync opportunities and make some money and stuff like that. Because we're all artists around here who are doing stuff, and it's like we want to help the community. And so one of the reasons we have the Artisan Network is when we first created the portal, it was only the artists could submit to us, and we're like, wow, there are so many amazing artists out here. Wouldn't it be cool if we could get them to work together and collaborate together and make great songs? Because it's really good when you're creating a song by yourself. But there's something really special that happens when you get several artists together and they start to collaborate and come up with different ideas and things like that. The intuitive nature that they have is, I'll say this, it's one thing that you're never going to see AI be able to duplicate what humans can do when they come together as a couple of individuals just jamming and saying, hey, what if we try this? Or, hey, look at this cool beat I have. Anybody want to contribute to this and make something greater of it? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to get AI to do that like humans can. And so
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's one of the reasons why we turned it on, so that everybody could meet up with each other and start hopefully making even greater music and things like that.
Well, I wanted to point this out because Anthony Clint Jr. is very successful as a sync writer, and so if you are part of this premium, you have an opportunity to collaborate with him. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or any of these, but
any of those people, you can send them. So like if you click on his name there, well, click on his photo. Click on his photo. It'll take you to his profile, and then you can ask to collaborate with him. And you don't have a collaboration set up, so you'd have to create a new one. But yeah, you could send him an invite to the collaboration. And one of the cool things about the collaboration is there's a little like kind of negotiation engine type thing where you can say, hey, I'm inviting you. Here's my idea. This is what I'm working on. Here's a piece of music. Here's some lyrics that I'm thinking of doing. I would love you to come on board with me and work on this and contribute in such and such a way, whether it's singing or playing bass or drums or whatever. You can invite them, and then they can say, hey, I'd love to do this. I want to be 50% writer or 25% writer, and I want $150. And they can send you what they'd like. And then you can say, hey, I accept that. Or you can say, you can counter it, and you can say, hey, can you do it for this? I only want to give up, 25% of the writer's share, not 50% or whatever. So you can negotiate back and forth with the artists and work with other people. A lot of times the artists will just go 50-50 and they just split it, but everything's different if you're just going to hire somebody to sing and that's it. And they're work for hire.
Right.
Opportunities we covered. Tunedge submissions. That's the area where if you've submitted to Tunedge, it's going to show all your songs in there.
Well, that's here.
That's there, right? There's all your submissions.
Right.
And
What
your
was
badge
badge?
songs, right? The badge songs. If you need to sign the Schedule A on a song, it would be under Sign Schedule A,
Right.
which I don't think you have any.
No.
Then the next section under that is your portfolio. This is no, that's I'm sorry, my profile. My bad. So here you've got your profile where you've got all the information about you as a composer, and you've got your portfolio. And what we do is we allow you to put 3 songs from your portfolio. You can make them featured and have them display here from your portfolio. So if you're trying to like put your best foot forward to get other people to want to come collaborate with you, they can come in, they can listen to the songs. You can make your songs public or private by that little green lock on there. If the green lock is closed and pink color, then nobody can see it but you. And if it's green and open, that means anybody who's in the network can see your song and listen to it. And
What's the
that little icon means that is pending. That means you've submitted it to Tunedge and it's pending approval or signing the Schedule A before it gets the badge.
Gotcha.
That's what that means. The How I Work section right there is like if you wanted to write like, hey, I love working with people. I want a percentage of the writer share, or this is how much money I like to get if I work with other people. You can fill that in. Your credits, education. Then your portfolio is your own personal space. Now, for somebody who is not a premium member, you're allowed 15 songs in your portfolio. Now, your portfolio is not part of Tunedge. So when you upload to the portal, it goes into your portfolio. Then when you submit to Tunedge, we make a copy of the song that's in your portfolio and we put it in Tunedge submissions with the word Edge at the end. So if you're a premium member, you can have up to 1,000 songs in there. If you're not premium, you can only have 15 in there. And you can also only submit 5 songs at a time to Tunedge. So while you're waiting for it to be badged. This is the same way it was on the old site. Premium members can submit as many as they want, as often as they want. And there's no limit on that. And then the playlist, which I don't think your account is not. Oh, yeah, there we go. No, that's your portfolio. Go to playlists.
Yeah, my circle.
Oh, yeah, you don't have any playlists, so you're not a premium member, right? Yeah.
No, I'm not.
So premium members can have playlists. And the cool thing about the playlist is the playlist, in a sense, I don't know if any of you have Disco, but it's similar to Disco in that you can have your music in your portfolio. You can make a playlist and you can share that playlist externally with other individuals or companies. And then they could download from that playlist if you're trying to license your music or send it out to somebody else, whatever you're trying to do. The circles are your friends and or co-composers.
Yeah.
If they're a co-composer, they automatically go into your circles. And then your favorites or anything you favorited, songs or anything in the system. And then if you click the artist portal icon at the top left, that takes you to the feed page. And on the feed page, it posts any public songs that are loaded up. They show up. We have a couple little ads running and instructional, like that's the video right there on how to collaborate. And then on the right-hand side, you've got any new artists to the system. So these are the newest artists who've joined the portal. And that's basically it in a nutshell. And you've got your messages top right, or messages. They could be either from another composer or they could be messages about, like there's some messages I did about congratulating the artist top 5 musicians. So Tunedge puts together every month what we call the Artist Top 5. And there's a group of artists and individuals around here who select the songs for the Artist Top 5. And then what we do is we put that together in a little montage that we post on YouTube, and we send that to over 10,000 broadcast, TV stations, radio stations, music supervisors, creative directors at ad agencies, producers, editors, and individuals like that to get in their face and say, hey, here's some great music we have, to get them to listen and then call us to say, hey, this stuff is really good, but I'm looking for this. Do you guys have some of this? And then we can make a playlist and send it over to them.
Absolutely excellent. Well, was there a question that wasn't asked and you thought, well, you know what, this would be very important for you to know as composers or for what Tunedge provides?
I think we covered, I could have forgotten something, but I think I've covered most everything that artists ask. The big one is getting those work for hires. That happens quite often. And I've had some composers get really frustrated about not being able to use a song. But that's all I could think of for now.
I do have one other question.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned, as we've talked about before, 100,000, maybe not 100,000 sync pieces, or maybe, but each and every day. So, your odds are like getting bigger than the mega lottery. So what could you say?
I would say yes and no, because it depends on the show, what the specific show is looking for. And sometimes they're always looking for the newest stuff. Other shows are looking for older stuff. Like when the show The Rock was, what was it? Was it called The Rock? I think it was. They were always looking for retro pieces from 80s and 70s. But then other shows like All American, they're looking for the latest, greatest hip hop and R&B.
Okay, now with that in mind, and I know that when you send these opportunities, it's really helpful to get those YouTube references so you can say, okay, this is the vibe that they're looking for.
Right.
But what can you as an artist, other than trying to make really good music and something maybe relatively fresh, what can you do to stand out, other than obviously it has to have the technical attributes that you're looking for quality wise, but what is there another X factor that a lot of people, or is it just as random?
It's not really. It really is random, and what they're looking for, if it matches what they're looking for, and you never know what they're looking for. We've literally had I don't know if you remember the movie recently that came out a couple of years ago, Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
I've heard the title.
They literally found our reality TV music on our YouTube page. The editor pulled the music out of the video, put it in the show, and then they called us and said, hey, we need to license this for the show. We pulled it off of your YouTube channel. So if they find what they are looking for, then they'll track down whoever it is that they're looking to license that piece of music. It is really has to do with, it doesn't fit exactly what they're looking for. And the problem is every show is different and every show is unique. And the one recommendation that we always give artists is just do what you do best and create what you create and put it out there. Because that's the best way to do it. Because you never know, it might sit there for a little while and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits and you make something. You just you don't know.
So theoretically, you're saying that a first timer could get placed just as well as somebody who's been doing it for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Equal chance.
Oh, yeah. Equal chance.
Okay.
First timer. We have a bunch of artists who we had one who put a piece of music up and was on the site for maybe 2-3 weeks, and he got placed. And we've had others who've been there for a while and haven't gotten placed. It's just like our catalog, the Tunedge catalog, where we own everything. We have probably 80,000 pieces of music in there. Not all of them have ever gotten, some of them have never gotten placed, but they're there. And sometimes we're surprised when it's like, oh yeah, we want to use this piece of music. And it's like something that was made back in 1996. And we're like, what? They want this piece of music? This isn't that great a piece of music. It's old and it's not as well produced as the newer stuff, but that's what they wanted for that shot.
Wow.
And so you just don't know.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging.
Absolutely. Hey, final question from me, and I'll preface this by saying that usually what we do in the second part of our session is the community sends in their music. You're welcome to stick around. I know you listen to music all day, every day. So I don't want you to, feel like, oh my God, I'm at work again. But, you might be interested in some of the stuff that's sent in because it's some pretty wild music.
Sure, let's take a listen to some of those. Why not?
Wow, a lot of incredible information shared. Many, many thanks to Joel Thatcher and frankly to the Tunedge brass who have allowed us to just poke at them and get all of our questions answered. And hopefully you were able to garner some valuable information that's going to help you as you either consider getting into sync, or if you already are, that's going to help you further your career in this aspect of the music field. And I want to remind you that, we do this all the time in the EntreMusician community, especially at the mastermind level, which I would ask you to consider being a part of, essentially and especially if you are over the age of 50 years old. We all grow into a family. This has been an organic, slow burn, and we are thriving together, helping each other out through coaching, through community, and through collaboration. And we meet every week, Saturday mornings at 10. If you're in the United States, obviously, this is our international call because Nenad Saveta-Chenin from Serbia, he is our international director. And what Nenad does is he is the moderator for those calls. So people in Germany, Finland, Italy, the Netherlands, the Baltics, and whatnot, it is in the afternoon. So when it's 10 o'clock in the U.S. for us, it's like 5 o'clock for them, 6 o'clock in some respects. And so, there's that call. And then on Sunday evenings at 6 o'clock, we get on Zoom and we discuss everything. And we're delighted that those heavy-duty professionals in the music industry, like a Joel Thatcher, come on a regular basis, and to help us keep our train on the tracks gives us an opportunity to ask some questions, and in many ways shares a lot of valuable information, or I should say share. I'm not talking very well today, but share a lot of valuable information with us as you have seen today. So all you have to do is just contact me here and let's just set up a 15-minute conversation. I'll find out what your needs are. I can tell you a little bit more about what we do at the EntreMusician, and you could try it on for size. Okay? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I certainly did. And once again, grateful to Joel Thatcher and to everyone from Tunedge. Check them out at tunedge.com. Check us out at theentremusician.com. As I always say, my name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician. But you know what's important? You know what's most important. So are you. We will definitely see you again next time. Peace and blessings to you.